Welcome to episode 66 of The Leap Home, Temptation Eyes.
In this week's episode, Sam has to save a psychic from a serial killer. When the medium's powers allow her to perceive Sam's true identity, he has to decide whether to confess the truth or stick to his role. With Al urging him to abide by the rules, can he successfully navigate his emotional state to solve the crime? Or will his lover end up a victim?
Huh? What are you doing now? Where are you going with her? Little vacations? What's she doing to getting under the bed? Hey, now what? I'm history.
Good evening, Ian.
Good evening, Gerry. How are you?
A little bit annoyed, angry.
What are you doing in the bed?
Well, that's it. I'm going on a little vacation, but this episode, I've got issues I'm sure you have with Sam. He's back to his old
not
self.
Not just Sam. So you've got Sam up to no good, but you've also got psychic powers made out to be real, which is nonsense.
You've got complete nonsense, yeah. You've got shoddy police work. Al's the only voice of reason.
And he's not in it much.
No.
Yeah.
A lot of gobbledygook in this episode.
Got a lot to talk about, so shall we get into it quickly?
Yeah,
let's start with the socials. We've got at Leap Home Podcast on all the usual social media accounts. You can go to theleaphome.com for show notes to leave your thoughts and reminiscences, and head to Columbo Podcast Productions on YouTube to see the episode 1 week earlier, hear it at least. And please leave thoughts, feelings, reviews, and subscribe and set notifications there if you so choose.
Okay.
I think I can predict what's coming next.
Let's crack on.
Okay, the start is really short. Same as we saw at the end of last week, it's only a few seconds. Sam gets handed a microphone by a cameraman, and we hear in the ether that he's about to go live on air.
Oh boy.
Indeed.
The credits, and we return. We're now out, I think, in the corridor. So there's the crime room, but he's outside.
Well, I think it's a flat. I think this is what we would call a close in
An
Scotland.
Apartment. Yeah, he stutters around what is happening, much to the bemusement of his cameraman. But he does seem pleased to realise that he's in San Francisco.
It reminded me a lot of Peter O'Hanrahan.
Yes.
They don't like the murder, but they're going to have to go along with it.
In his ear, his director asks if there is any further information, bearing in mind he apparently received an anonymous tip-off from the killer, and it points to the victim being the sixth in an ongoing Chinatown strangling case.
Yeah, Sam fumbles his way to a conclusion of the report and is immediately chastised by Ross Tyler, his cameraman.
Yeah, he vents at him for possibly blowing their big chance of getting signed up by one of the big network affiliates.
Just then, a senior cop, who I think we learn is called Collins.
Detective Collins, yeah.
Yeah, he shows up and Ross immediately tries to pump him for information. It's quite apparent, though, that Collins is not happy with at least Sam, and probably Sam and Ross.
I didn't buy into this relationship. I can understand perhaps a cop not being too enamoured with Sam having this front seat, but if that was the case, you would be bringing Sam into the investigation. You'd be saying, like, what do you know? If he's going to call you, if he's speaking to you, we want you inside the tent, as it were.
Instead, he seems to have identified it as a challenge to his authority.
Yeah. And is trying to keep him as far away from an investigation as possible. But this is someone who's directly speaking to the killer. Yeah. You need to...
He makes this reference to Sam playing phone tag with the killer, and Ross points out that as soon as he was tipped off, Sam called it in, but he's told to read about it in the paper. Yeah,
he refuses to give them any information and instead enters the murder room with the body and slams the door behind him. And when the eager Tyler goes to find another way into this room, I mean, what do you mean another way in? Do you mean through a window? This is an apartment. How many ways in do you have?
He literally means through a window, yes.
Yeah. Sam catches a glimpse of his older self in the mirror.
He does. But just then, a young woman shows up and appears to recognise him.
Yeah, as the guy in the news. And she introduces herself as Tamlin Matsuda and then compliments him on how young he looks in person. You get the feeling that she's trying to ingratiate herself in she's after something.
Well, perhaps. She's certainly keeping her options open here. She's not closing any doors.
Yeah. Or do you think that she's meant to be sensing that he is a younger man?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think that's the implication here, but we don't know that yet.
Yeah, see, at first I thought, well, she's obviously just trying to flatter him because she wants access.
Yeah, but then she does seem kind of uneasy with him initially, doesn't she?
Well, you would do. You're an uneasy guy.
She, however, is willing to offer up that the detective has invited her to the crime scene.
And Sam immediately asks if she's a psychic.
Why would you assume that? Not a forensics officer?
I have no idea. Yeah, another detective, a reporter,
Anyway, she says that she not only is psychic, the fact that he was aware of that makes him psychic too.
Yeah, she sort of flirts with him in this scene and she walks off. Taylor then returns and laughs at how desperate Detective Collins must be in the fact that he's using this psychic on the case.
Yeah, he refers to her as a tea leaf reader, but then tells Sam that he's found another way in and to follow him.
Inside the crime scene room, Matsuda is talking gibberish about energy and seeing the name Janine, who has come from a club and feels dirty from the smoke and the lust in the air.
What's she talking about?
I have no idea. She's an absolute lunatic.
We meanwhile see Sam and Ross climb the fire escape ladders and start filming this psychic session through an open window.
Yeah, she continues to describe through flashback how a man entered the room when Janine was in the bath and strangles her with a cord to get rid of his rage.
Yeah, apparently he wants to maim her, rip her apart, and then erase her from his mind.
However, she cannot confirm that he was a killer of the other 5.
Yeah, no, her vision only refers to this one incident.
Convenient. Anyway, outside and later on, members of the local Chinese community gather and watch as the body is taken away, and we see a dodgy-looking Caucasian male standing on his own on the street corner.
Yes, he's kind of skeevy. He wanders off.
Sam tells Taylor that he wants to talk to Matsuda, and he rightly laughs again at the notion that she could be any help and calls it a night. I think he heads for a beer.
Yeah, he invites Sam along, but Sam suggests that they can do it tomorrow.
Instead, he creepily approaches her. I think he's clearly attracted to her. And this is weird. Asked to walk her home as it's dangerous. So 2 things. Yeah, okay, she's a little lady who needs a big, strong man to help her get home. But more importantly, or more annoyingly, why would he assume that she doesn't have a car with her?
Yeah. He's also just met her for the first time.
If it was a different show, I'd be thinking, is Sam the killer?
Well, this is not the first time that occurred to me in this episode. Well, it is the first time, but it's not the only time.
Yeah. She smiles and tells him that she feels like she knows him from someplace other than the TV and accepts this offer of accompaniment.
Based on a good feeling that she has.
She's not practicing good, personal safety. Strangers are approaching you, you feel like you're probably a decent enough guy.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Anyway, he has clearly worked his magic as she has invited him into her home and is telling him how she got involved in the case.
Yes, she didn't predict any of the other murders because she's only just back from teaching in England.
Teaching what? English, maths, physics?
Psychicness.
Yeah, parapsychology. Oh, obviously some sort of charlatan. Yep. So what does that mean? She was in England and didn't foresee. So what? There's some sort of distance it can't travel.
Yeah.
How does that work? That's a lot of nonsense. Yeah, and I think she had a dream.
Yes, she's been dreaming about a girl being murdered under a Chinese lantern.
Yeah, and Sam, for the only time in this episode, doesn't look wholly convinced.
You don't believe me?
No, I do. Well, I think I'm like a lot of people. I mean, I want to believe in ESP and everything.
But haven't you ever known when something was going to happen in the future, and then it did?
Of course he has. It happens all the time. Oops, take me up. Thanks to me and Ziggy.
Yeah.
That's just psychic ability. It's perfectly natural.
As natural as Ouija boards and mood rings.
Most people are psychic to some degree. They just don't believe it.
Psychic, schmykic. We gotta talk, Sam. Ask her to make some more tea or something.
How about some more tea?
That'd be great.
Okay. I'll be right back.
Okay.
That was a coincidence. That was a coincidence. Sam. Forget it. You're too old for her. Come on.
No, I'm not. I'm kind of just right.
Well, you may be, but the guy you leaped into...
Dylan Powell.
Dylan Powell's 59 years old. He's a month away from retirement.
Retirement?
Yeah. He's been covering San Francisco for 25 years. His career's been going downhill until his recent coverage of a bizarre serial murderer in Chinatown. And, well, this is weird. Well, it seems that the killer has been calling you and calling Dylan and tipping him to the killings. That's weird. And they're all strippers and hookers, at least until now. This has got to be one of the worst things that's ever happened in this city.
So I must be here to stop the murders, right?
Well, see, never mind the murders. Hers.
No.
She's the 7th victim.
So I think it was at that point I realised who the killer was.
Okay.
And it makes a change this week. Al telling Sam that he is too old for someone, whereas last week he was perving, he in his 50s was perving on a teenage girl.
Yes. Complete switch.
Yeah.
Sam's reasoning in response to what Al's just said is shocking.
Why?
He assumes that she becomes a victim because she gets close to catching the killer using her psychic ability and has to be taken out.
It's just Columbo magic.
Speaking of Columbo magic, Tamlin now comes through and calls Sam Sam.
Yeah. Okay, before we go on to that, I don't think we heard in the clip, Al informs him that her death is not for 2 weeks.
Yes.
Normally it's a day or so.
Yes,
2
it's a long
weeks.
while away.
That's an awful long time for him to remain in the leap. So he's probably going to have to try and bang her.
Well, we'll see. She corrects herself on the name thing, but can't figure out why she would call him Sam.
She then returns to the kitchen as Al tries to put it down to a coincidence.
Well, what else could it be?
Huh? Sam admits that he might believe she really is psychic. Now, I feel we're going to moan about this the entire episode, but Sam is one of the world's leading physicists.
Yes.
Man of science.
Absolutely.
And because a hot chick says so, he's quite happy just to ignore all his other beliefs or everything that he understands and accept this garbage.
Yeah, it's insane. And what is said next is possibly the worst moment of the entire episode.
Yes, explain.
Well, Al quite rightly says if she was so psychic, why is she not predicting her own death?
And Sam, of course, spouts garbage about how sometimes they're only able to see others' demise, which Al rightly sneers at as being convenient.
He's just made that up. He didn't read it somewhere.
It reminded me a little bit of the Goonies,
Right.
where Mikey tells his story about how the Spanish Armada was blocked in, etc. And someone points out, one of the other kids points out that asks, well, if that's true, how did the map and the story get out? And he says, well, one of them must have get out. It's just a story that's been obviously been shot down to be nonsense. And in any case, we're told that she still gets killed on the 14th of February 1985, which is 2 weeks away from now, and also a full moon. So we've got this other full moon garbage thrown into the whole story. Yeah.
Sam's suggestion at this point is to take her away from the city so that she cannot be murdered.
However, Al points out correctly that there are 4 other women that will die after her if he somehow saves Tamlin, so he needs to stay and try and catch the killer.
Okay, fair enough. Tamlin now comes back through and senses a strange energy in the room, perhaps the presence of Al.
And I think he looks over her as she comes back in and considers that spending a few weeks with her won't be much of a chore for Sam.
However, he's perturbed by her reference to his potential presence and leaves swiftly.
She then reveals how she was able to see what the last victim went through by touching her pillow. Apparently connecting with items can aid this ability. That's what she claims anyway.
Yeah.
With her lies, which are shortly to be proven to be garbage.
Indeed. Sam asks some more questions and particularly wants to know whether she's worried for herself, but she says that for the killer to target her, he would have to believe she was psychic.
Well, he's a nutter, so good chance that he would. She goes on to talk more gobbledygook about how little we know about the human mind and how psychic powers already exist. This is like the God void. When you can't explain things with science or in nature,
To make something up.
you have to fill the gap with, it must be God then. It's like, no, just because we don't know everything about the human mind doesn't mean that psychic powers exist.
No.
Or we can't explain how the universe came into being. It doesn't mean to say it was invented by God.
No.
We just don't know.
Exactly. Anyway, she is certain that one day people will come to accept psychic powers as natural, but
No, it's the opposite of that. People used to, when they were less sophisticated and had less understanding, would believe in this garbage.
yeah.
But
Burn the witch.
yeah, exactly. Now people realise it's nonsense and they don't accept it.
Sam asks her to predict future killings, but she says that she's not sure who's going to be killed, although she is certain there will be additional murders.
You don't need to be an effing psychic to predict that a serial killer will strike again.
It's the default position, isn't it?
In the job description.
Yeah.
But conveniently, she hasn't seen who it is as yet. Now, he's quite agitated, but asks what she's doing the next day. And when she tells him that Collins wants her to look through some mugshots, she agrees to let him join her.
What's Collins playing at?
I have no idea. Collins' boss should be saying, okay, Collins, how are we getting along in this, the old Chinatown murders investigation? Struggling, boss. I'm bringing in a psychic. Fired. You're off the case.
Yeah,
Go away.
It's not good police procedure.
It's not. We're not wasting, and it proves to be the case.
He's got an absolute cheek to be narky with Sam.
Well, okay, so we turn up at the police station where the aggressive cop is not happy with Sam being there. Now, he doesn't want anything to do with the guy the killer is talking to, but deals with these suits.
He's ignoring a lead.
It's one of the biggest.
It's the only lead.
What does he sound like? Where's his accent from? Is he old? Is he young? Is he? Can you tell?
When does he call?
Yeah.
What's the pattern?
How does he talk? Are there any words that he uses? He might call again. If he does, here's what we need you to do. He should be brought in. Really, he's central to this investigation. He's being dismissed for a faker.
It's ridiculous.
But I think Collins rightly works out that Sam's not just there to be helping on the case.
Yes, he warns him that he can stay, but if he leaks anything, he'll never get another live report. He doesn't seem to be getting live reports off him anyway.
No. Oh. He then allows Sam to observe as Matsuda performs her nonsense of placing her hands over mugshots until after a long time has passed, she is able to get a feeling.
Yes, it's a mask. The killer's hiding behind something.
Well, she picks out a suspect but isn't sure and notes, as you say, it looks like he's wearing a mask, and I hated this line. Sam tells her, well, maybe it is, and she should turn the page.
Get lost, Sam.
Yep. This does the trick, and she's able to ID a guy from the other side and is having flashbacks.
Yeah, it's a guy we recognise.
Is it?
It's the creepy guy that we saw slink away in the opening scene.
Ah, yeah. She doesn't know if he killed all the other girls, but insists that he did kill the one from the previous night. So Collins puts out an APB on what's his name?
Tony Besh.
Tony Besh.
Ridiculous police scene.
How
I'm
can you
really
do
angry
that?
about this.
Can you imagine the legal ramifications when he's sued?
His lawyer's like, so what was the basis for this arrest? Oh, a psychic said he did it.
That's millions of dollars in compensation would be required right there.
Yeah. As soon as he was arrested, wrongful arrest.
All sorts of stuff, yeah.
So later on we hear a TV report. So Sam's obviously given partial information to this report and not leaked the name or anything, but he says there is a prime suspect. Yeah,
and we've got a brief shot of an anxious looking Besh watching the news on the television.
But why would he think he's the prime suspect if he's not involved at all?
I think maybe just a creepy guy who likes to be around, he's got a fascination with this killer, so he's been hanging around there and he isn't worried that it's him.
He just looks anxious generally.
Yeah, we're only thinking he looks anxious because someone's told a lie. He's just a guy watching it and he's a bit of a creepy weirdo.
Yeah.
Doesn't make you a serial killer.
That's true.
If it did, you would be.
No. We cut now to Sam, Ross and Tamlin in a studio, I think.
That's an editing room at the TV station, yeah.
Now, the report that they've put on the telly includes a shot that they took through the window of the dead body.
You can't be doing that, sticking cameras through windows.
I don't think that's ever been acceptable, showing corpses in the murder case.
I don't think that the editor or producer of the show would allow that to go on air.
But Ross wants to know whether they should reuse this on the 10 o'clock news.
Yeah, and Matsuda is very uneasy about the killer. And again, I've noted here, Tyler is a killer.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Sam and
she steps out to get some water.
So at this point, Ross asks Sam what the two of them got up to the night before.
But before he can pry any further, she returns and Sam leaves with her.
Yeah, this is really weird and sudden. So she's going out for some water and comes back and immediately wants Sam to leave as if that's planned. But it's not been mentioned.
No.
They're right in the middle of something.
And it's at his workplace.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, I'm doing my thing here.
Anyhow.
We're back at her apartment.
Yes, we hear the clang of the trolley bell, which is the audio cue that we're at Tamlin's place.
They both stare out of her window at the moon as Sam contemplates the killer being out there before asking her when she first realised that she was psychic. So he now has accepted this.
Yes, and at one point she's talking about being confident the killer will be found, and he finishes her sentence, which means that he too is confirmed to be psychic.
Okay, so what tale does she tell about when she first realised?
She was 7 and her mother died, and came to visit her after her death, but before she found out that she was dead.
Garbage. Yeah, this is a dream, or it's a case of PTSD. It's a horrific trauma from your past, and your mind can certainly play tricks on you.
Yeah, it might not even have been contemporary. She might now be like having a false memory.
Yeah, she assures Sam she wasn't dreaming, but since then she does have dreams, and some of them come true.
What do you mean, some of them?
Yeah.
So,
nonsense. It's just as nonsense.
Especially since your dreams are made up by your subconscious interpreting things that you have seen. So quite likely things will happen that are based on stuff that you've seen.
She's upset and goes to her mirror, and then incredibly, Sam joins her, and what happens?
She initially sees Dylan in the mirror. We initially see Dylan in the mirror with her, and then the camera pans down and back up, and it's Sam's reflection, which causes a bit of a fright for young Tamlin.
Yeah, but it should be more of a fright.
Yeah, it's not that. Well, she is taken aback, but not to the point of screaming.
Yeah, she asks with a start who he is. And he tries feebly to claim that he's Dylan, but she refutes this with a smile now, and mentions that she has seen him in her dreams where she gets saved from drowning by a man from far away.
Just then, Al shows up in a fabulous hat.
It is, yeah. Sam's agitated and struggling to keep his secret when Al does turn up, and warns him against divulging the truth and how it could prevent him from leaping, but he's all in at this point, Sam.
Yeah, I don't think Al's got any basis for saying that he might not leap.
I don't know if you start messing about with...
But he's talked about who he is with people before.
Has he?
And always leaped.
Really?
Yeah.
Other people can see him and he talks about the Quantum Leap project.
He definitely has done that before. Oh. Not that they can see him, but he's told folk that his real name is Sam.
Okay.
We've always had a go at him for it.
In any case, Sam responds to Al by saying that maybe he doesn't want to leap, to go. I mean, F off, Sam.
So selfish.
She then works out that he is Sam, and she called him that the previous evening, as we heard.
Yeah, she asks him why he's here, and Al warns him that if he tells her, then Al will leave.
Instead, he tells her his full name and that he is there for her. Al, as you say, can't stand this, so he does leave as Sam sits her down and prepares to explain all.
Oh, boy. Tamlin, you're going to be next.
To die?
Yeah, in 2 weeks.
How do you know?
Well, this is, it's gonna sound a little weird, I think, but, I'm from the future.
And you leaped here?
Yeah. Project Quantum Leap. It's a time travel experiment. See, I'm really from 1990.
How soon before you leap out?
We don't have any control over that.
After I die?
No. You're not gonna die.
Then my future's not predetermined?
No, we can change it. We will change it.
The dark water meant death in my dream, but I didn't see it. All I saw was you.
And that's why you didn't know that you were gonna die?
My vision gets blurred if I'm not centered and calm. An intense emotion like fear or love would throw me off.
Love?
Yes.
I know the feeling.
What follows next is a brilliantly disgusting and disturbing montage of Sam and Matsuda getting it on, falling in love over a period of weeks to the soundtrack of Foreigner, I Want to Know What Love Is.
Which we obviously don't have the rights to play on this podcast.
Of course not. It was cringe and fascinating all at once. It was...
You had to look away, but you couldn't look away.
Complete car crash.
Maybe the worst single scene in television history.
quite possibly.
But also the best.
Yes.
I don't know.
It's up there. It's up there and down there. So, question from this is, so
Bit like Sam.
they've spent 2 weeks together, banging, yeah?
Yeah.
Does she still see him as Sam, or was that only a glimpse and she has to bang the old man
No, she's using her powers to visualise Sam.
the whole time?
Yeah.
And again, without wanting to get too R-rated here, we've discussed this before in terms of the physicality and the embodiment. Is she getting to get to grips with Sam's body or Dylan's body?
It's a question that's never going to be answered.
Can
Unless
Dylan,
she's pregnant, and we'll find out in a future episode.
Yep, the older alcoholic Dylan, is he going to be a considerate and satisfying lover?
Is Sammy's own father.
I mean, this is peak Sam Beckett being inappropriate, but and you don't get any more vulnerable than a woman who's being hunted by a serial killer.
Yes, so she's very vulnerable and he's taking advantage of that. And we know he's taking advantage of that because she's going to die in 2 weeks and he spends the whole 2 weeks doing nothing to stop it.
No, he's just banging.
He's just doing what he wants to do.
Yeah.
He has no interest in stopping her getting murdered at this point. He's like, I will deal with that at the time.
I've told you the guy is an absolute wrong'un.
Terrible, terrible person.
Yeah,
He's manipulated her as well.
of course he has, yeah.
So I'm the only one that can save you from being murdered.
Not just that, that's the thing. She did not or wasn't aware that she's an ex-victim. So he's created this fear and panic that means that he's there to protect her. She didn't know she was a victim of going to be a victim.
Yeah, he's terrorised her and then taken advantage of her being in a terrorised state.
A completely unacceptable abuse of power and knowledge.
Borderline criminal.
Yeah.
In fact, maybe not even borderline.
It's certainly unethical.
Emotional abuse.
Yeah, telling someone that, I mean, that is what you would do. Making someone, not what you would do. Well, maybe what you would do.
What a person would do.
What a bad person would do is, to get someone to emotionally manipulate them so that they then give up their physical self for you.
If you don't trust me implicitly, you will die. Yeah, that's what he's saying to her.
Repulsive. Anyway.
We come back to a post-coital Sam and his stylish boxers as Al shows up and mocks them.
Yeah, so did Al just disappear for 2 weeks?
Yes, because he was in a huff with Sam for
2 weeks.
Yes.
Al should have been there saying, snap to it, we've got a serial killer to identify. Not just leaving you at it.
Well, maybe it was just didn't make the montage and every now and then he would show up and say, Sam, and Sam would just ignore him.
Yeah. He wishes him a happy Valentine's Day, so he's turned up on the day of the
killing, yeah.
That's... What's going on here?
A waste of 2 weeks. Ziggy still has nothing on this Besh guy.
So maybe Matsuda's hands aren't reliable enough to base your entire investigation on. I mean, it's just it's a bit of a crazy theory I've got here, but
anyhow, she comes back and feels this chill in the air again, which annoys Al.
He again reminds Sam that he can't stay, and when his extraordinarily selfish friend now claims that he can, Al asks him, he points out, what do you think is going to happen to the real Dylan who's in the waiting room?
Sam has no answer for that.
No, I'll just stay here and I'll bang Matsuda.
Well, they start to head in that direction again, which causes Al to nearly vomit and leave, but immediately return because right at that second, Ziggy makes a breakthrough.
Oh, what's that?
I don't know how Ziggy's got this information, by the way. This is one of those ones where's this recorded in the annals of history? Apparently Besh is hiding out in a motel called the Foghorn 15 blocks away.
So Sam tells Masudo this, but insists that she stay there and call the police as he goes off to try and find him.
She's not happy about that.
Well, what does she want to do?
Don't know, face him down.
Seems like an unlikely desire.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're now at the alleyway.
We see Sam doing a bit of running.
Yeah, he jogs to there with his silly run. I think it's the alleyway behind the Foghorn, but it's told by Al that Besh ran away as soon as the cops arrived.
Al's demeanour is weird here. He's in no way anxious. Like normally when they're doing a chase and the guy gets away, he's like, come on Sam, he's gone this way, he's gone that way.
But maybe he knows that it's not, like she's not under any threat at the moment.
Maybe. Anyhow, yeah, Al gives Sam some pointers and
they eventually find Besh hiding behind some boxes.
Yeah, Sam roughs him up a bit.
Well, he leaps out with a knife.
Yeah, well, to be fair, yes, he's very unhappy with being found behind these. Why is he hiding behind boxes from Sam? Why did he run away from the motel?
Well, he's obviously maybe an unsavoury character. He's not a serial killer.
Yeah, but he's run away from the motel before he knows the police are on their way.
No, when they arrived, he obviously saw the police gathering. He looked out the window or whatever. He saw the police there and thought,
they might be here for me.
Maybe here for me. Maybe he's a
a drug dealer.
Or some sort of low-level criminal, and he's thought, I don't want to get involved in this, I'm out of here.
Well, he gets what's coming to him from Sam.
Sam abuses him, he grabs him, shoves his arm up against his back, throws him up against the fence.
He did come at Sam with a knife.
Yeah, he was defending himself from a stranger who was about to attack him.
Yeah.
Besh is entirely in the right here.
And he does, at this point, verbally deny killing anybody.
Yeah, because he's innocent, yeah.
Al reports that despite Sam stopping Besh, Tamlin is still set to die. And Sam has a terrible theory.
What's that?
He must have been a copycat killer.
Meaning the real killer is still out there.
But also that Tamlin wasn't wrong.
Yeah, it's like maybe your friend with the hands
Didn't solve the
crime. It's a crazy concept.
Just putting it out there.
And I like as well. I like the way the cops turn up, take him, Besh, and walk away. There's no right, Sam. You'll need to come to the station, give a
Want
statement.
him to have anything to do with it.
No, walked away.
So at this point, Sam runs back to Tamlin's apartment, and my thinking is Sam the killer?
Right.
Because he's now the only person who's got access to her at this moment when she's meant to die, and we know it's not the other guy.
Sure. But he is relieved to find that she's still safe and well. So they go back to the editing room, where they find Tyler in a prickly mood.
Real nice of you to show up, Dylan. Who were you last night, buddy?
It was at Tamlin's. Did I miss something?
Yeah, my birthday. Wait, you must have some spell over him.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
I forgot.
First time in 25 years.
Look, Ross. I'm really sorry.
Hey, it's okay. I stayed up and I partied with my old friend Jack. Daniels. Hey, you two. Happy Valentine's Day. Did I say something?
No. Thank you.
Editing. It's him.
Him?
Yeah, he wants to talk to you.
Hello?
We're gonna change our little game.
Now, listen to me. I want you
always
to...
tell you after I silence one of my little darlings. Now you know before. Her name is Tamlin, and she's such a sweet little thing.
You don't have to...
Happy Valentine's Day.
Tamlin, listen to me. You can't go outside.
I won't. I just need to wash my face. I'll be okay.
What's your favourite scary movie?
That scene that confirmed my theory, and because it was the same. It reminded me of there was an episode of Sledgehammer, the radio sex therapist,
Okay,
and it was the same.
same idea.
Yeah. Anyway, as Matsuda uses the bathroom, Al turns up and is told about the call.
I was convinced the killer was in the bathroom.
That is scream, isn't it? Sam asks where she is killed, and when told at Chinatown, he makes the strange decision to go there to enable her to sense where the killer is, and they can get him.
Yeah, use her as bait.
Yeah. Idiot.
Al is dubious, but Sam insists.
Yeah, now I'm thinking, I know it's probably been discussed before, but in this case, if you know someone is going to die on this date in Chinatown,
Don't go there.
don't go there, or barricade yourself in the hotel room, get some knives and weapons, sit in the corner and just wait it out for 24 hours.
Yeah. See what happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, we head to Chinatown, and having forced Tamlin to come to the place where she's going to be murdered, Sam then tells her that she doesn't need to do it.
She feels a presence, and just then, Tyler appears with his camera to capture their Emmy moment. The both of them, Sam and Matsuda, are idiots. They're really stupid.
She points a guy out, and Sam tells her to stay with Ross while he follows this guy, which turns out to be a woman.
Yeah, however, all he ends up doing is harassing a frightened homeless woman.
He then releases her, and meanwhile we see Ross assuring Tamlin that Sam will be okay.
She has a flashback and realises that Tyler is in fact the killer and the danger she is in.
That's not a flashback. She didn't see the killing.
What is it then?
It's a vision.
Vision, all right, okay, yeah.
But she's her
yeah.
brain's making it up because she's looking at him right now.
Yeah.
So it's nothing. She's not learning anything here.
No. His mask slips when he knows that she's worked him out, and he blames her for breaking up the Lennon and McCartney partnership.
She says that's not what she's trying to do, but he says it seems that way, and he backs her up a wee bit.
He puts his hand over her mouth and pulls her into an alleyway. Sam returns to find them both gone, and after considering the facts, he asks Al to run a check on Tyler.
Yeah, can't Al just zap over to where she is?
Oh, he does.
Yeah, but he first of all asks where she is.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, yes, as you say, Al's asked to check on Ross and realises that the call he heard was probably pre-recorded. Good time to figure that out right after she's been taken.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he and Al figure that must be Ross that's
Yeah, I
doing
think
it.
it said that he was an electronics expert.
Yeah, he would have the ability to make this tape. And so, Al is sent at this point to centre on Tamlin.
Yeah, and like in all good 80s, 90s action thrillers, we end up at a deserted factory, this time on the roof.
Yes. Ross drags Tamlin out onto the roof as Al shows up and assures her that Sam is coming. Although she can sense his presence, she doesn't know what he's saying.
She does her best to fight Tyler off.
Yeah, Sam's climbing up the levels of the factory as Tamlin fights for her freedom, but by the time Sam gets to the roof, Ross has recovered control and lifted her above the barrier at the edge of the roof.
It's over, Ross.
No, not after 25 years.
Why?
They fired us. I got our jobs back.
What are you talking about?
They laid us off. I got drunk and I hit that first girl. Her head smacked the table and there was so much blood I just couldn't do anything.
You pretended you were someone else and you called me?
Yeah. We were the first ones to report it. I got our jobs back. A lot of tension.
And for that, you killed all those girls.
They were all just hookers. They were littering the streets, ruining what used to be a great city. Besides, we're just giving the public what they want, sex and murder. Ratings, man, ratings. If people are sick enough to watch it, hell, let's give it to them.
Let it go.
No, she'll tell them.
It's too late. I already told him.
It was our only chance. We were on top again.
Let it go, Ross. It's over.
You're right, buddy. It's over. Sam! Let me go!
No.
Then I'm taking you with me. No! Sam! Please!
I'm not gonna let you die.
I'm already dead!
In fairness, that was a fantastic psychotic caricature.
It was great. I'm not sure Sam shouting "let her go" was the right choice of words.
No. You asked for it.
The splat at the end, that was something
Yeah, it's
special.
good. So later on, as the body is being taken away by the coroner, Sam stands with his arm around Matsuda, who predicts Al's sentiment that it is time for him to go. But before we get there, at this point, Sam must be saying to her, see, after all that, what's this crap with Besh? He's clearly not the killer. You are absolutely at it, you little fraud.
Also point out that yet again, not for the first time, someone who lived in the original history is dead because of Sam's intervention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He doesn't seem to have any guilt.
No.
It was the same in Unchained, the most recent one.
Yep.
Anyhow, yes, Tamlin knows that Sam won't be back, and he has a feeling that she'll be okay now, and leaps while they hug, which means that Dylan's leaping back into a hug with a woman who has no interest in him.
Really weird. Yeah, because normally...
She'll know, yeah.
Yeah, she'll know this time. Normally they don't, so it doesn't make any difference to the other person, but this time it's really awkward.
Yeah, what does he know about what happened?
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
Does he have the memories of Sam's...
Has he been watching?
And she's like, look, I know you're not him. Get lost.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Sam leaps into what appears to be a gunslinger in the Wild West, so that's not in his lifetime.
Well, I don't know. No, it could be an Old West. I'm thinking maybe an Old West. You get these sort of theme park type things. I don't know.
He shoots a man down from the roof and is challenged
You don't know.
to a
That
duel.
it could be a blank and
It could
an
be.
actor.
It could all be set up.
We shall find out next week. But sorry, getting back to the thing about never seeing her again.
Yeah.
It's only 1985. He could definitely go and visit her
In real life.
in real life, and then
Or she could come and visit him.
Well, at any point she can see him. Yeah. So he can go and just visit whenever he wants.
Yeah, it's only like, what, 15 years, less than 15 years in the past.
So any time after 85.
And she'll have heard about the Quantum Leap project now in real life.
Well, maybe it might be top
When
secret.
she's older. Yeah, maybe.
But my point is that she can see him, so no matter what form he's in, if it's after 85 when she's found out about him, he can visit and they can bang.
Except for his wife.
Oh yeah, no, he doesn't care about her anymore.
He does when he's not in the leaps.
It's just...
So I've got a couple of things.
Just a couple, okay.
Well, the biggest points, he really did nothing for 2 weeks to help stop her getting murdered.
Yeah. He's thinking with...
Unserious person. He's an unserious person, that's what he is.
He's a complete scumbag in this episode.
Why was Besh so skeevy if he wasn't murdering people? You think he's just a skeevy guy?
Yeah.
Ross?
Well, we know that he's in the mugshot, so we know he's a sort of criminal.
Yeah.
He's in that book.
True. That's a couple of big books. He was on like book 4 by the time she found him.
Yeah.
Was death an easy get out for Ross after what he'd done?
I suppose so, yeah. I don't know what the laws would have been in San Francisco in 1985 in terms of...
There's no death penalties. In the 70s it was abolished in California, I think.
So, yeah, I've just served. I suppose, yes. It depends how you look at it. Is that an easy way out? Some people want the death penalty. Well, they've got it.
Yeah. He certainly would be losing his job, which is what he seemed to care the most
about. What do you mean losing his job? He'll be in prison, for being a serial killer.
That was his thing, though. That was his motivation, was to revive his career.
Yeah.
Right. Any other thoughts?
No, I like Ross as a character.
That's not his real accent, though, I'm pretty sure.
I didn't enjoy Sam this week at all.
He's a bad man.
He's a bad man.
He's bad instincts. Anywho, this originally aired on the 22nd of January 1992, directed by Christopher Hibbler. This is the first of 4 Quantum Leaps for him. He was also the director for episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Diagnosis Murder, lots of Matlocks, Beverly Hills 90210. He died in 2010 when he was 68. Interestingly, though, his father, Winston Hibbler, was a writer on many of the classic Disney animations, including Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, Peter Pan, and Alice in Wonderland. Teleplay was by Paul Brown, 12th of his 13. So if you want to hear more about him, you can go back to Kamikaze Kid at the tail end of season 1. Tamlin Matsuda was played by Tamlin Tomita. That's not very imaginative.
I don't understand that. So she turned up on set and I said, okay, so what's my character going? What's your name? Tamlin, yeah, that'll do.
That's just, my feeling is maybe the character was called something else and they liked her name, so they just changed it. Really? Or maybe she couldn't remember. And she thought, make it something I can say. Anyway, this is her only Quantum Leap, but you'll remember her from the second Karate Kid movie and from Cobra Kai. She's also in Babylon 5, Berlin Station, Star Trek Picard. She's now 58, still very active. Collins was played by a guy called Kent Williams. You won't know much about him. This was his only Quantum Leap. He was also in 4 episodes of Hill Street Blues, and that's it.
Weird, isn't it?
Yeah. He had a reasonably sizable role for this. Hill Street Blues, is that a Belisario one?
No, I think, is that not a Stephen Bochco?
It might be, yeah. Ross Tyler, played by James Handy. Again, his only Quantum Leap. He's been in lots of things, but not as major characters. Things like Top Gun Maverick recently, the original Jumanji, Arachnophobia, West Wing, ER. He's still active, and he has successfully kept his date of birth off of the internet.
Okay.
And finally, Tony Besh was played by Rob LaBelle. His only Quantum Leap, also in The Man in the High Castle, Smallville, Star Trek Voyager, X-Files, amongst others. He's now 61, still active. In terms of trivia, longest leap of the series, it's around 2 weeks. We don't get anything longer than that. We haven't had anything longer than that. It's the second time we've seen a psychic sense Al after leaping in without a net. The title of the episode is from a song from the 70s by a band called The Grassroots. You heard of them? I've not. In terms of things that we learned, Al's sceptical of psychics, Sam's not, which is the opposite of their views on ghosts from A Portrait for Troyan. Sam likes orange spice tea. I think we might have heard that previously. In respect of on this date, 1st of February 1985, you'll remember John Hume announcing he was accepting a meeting with the IRA leadership. And during the period of the episode, the border between Spain and Gibraltar was opened for the first time since 1969. And CNN reporter Jeremy Levin was released from captivity in Lebanon where he'd been taken hostage.
Number ones.
Okay.
Appropriately enough, in both the UK and the US, it was Foreigner with I Want to Know What Love Is. One of the co-founders is Mick Jones. He is the father of 3 famous children, the most famous probably being Mark Ronson, the DJ.
Okay. Founder of what?
The band.
Next week, we have The Last Gunfighter, where Sam has a reputation to protect. So, we will see you in 1957.
Until then,
cheerio.
Bye-bye.